Hi, welcome to my Kia Motors presentation for Microeconomics. I hope you enjoy. So the presentation contents, we will do an introduction and then go over a brief biography and history of Kia Motors. Then I'll go into a description of their products, an evolution of Kia Motors and their vehicles, the competition, SWOT analysis, some product differentiation, and some marketing strategies, as well as market share, and then a conclusion. I chose Kia Motors because I drive a 2015 Kia Soul. An introduction to Kia Motors: it was one of the top regarded companies in 2018, according to Forbes. The market cap is $12.7 billion. The industry is auto and truck manufacturers. It was founded in 1944 in South Korea. The CEO is Hyung Kyung Lee. The employees is 44,542. The sales was $47.9 billion, and the headquarters is in Seoul. Here's a history and biography of Kia Motors. Kia, which means arise from Asia, was formed in 1944, shortly before North Korea invaded the South. It started as a diversified manufacturer of bicycles and industrial products, surprisingly, and later as a manufacturer of trucks and automobiles. During the 1940s or 1950s, the commercial expansion of Kia Motors had essentially went to ruins, and in 1953, their industrial base was in ruins due to the Korean War. Park Chung-hee took over Korea, and his government was obsessed with industrial and economic growth. And they essentially laid the foundation for Korea's strong economy, with annual exports going from 33 million to 17 billion, which is substantial for one leader. Kia Motors was able to transition from being a small bike manufacturer to a global supplier of automobiles. And Park ruled Korea with a characteristic military style. He was the ruler from 1960s to 1970s, and man, did he have a huge impact on Kia Motors. They started building their own line of bicycles in the 1950s and eventually moved on to the automobile industry. They were a part of a chaebol, which is a business group consisting of large companies that are owned or managed by relatives or one or two royal families. And Park decided this was the best way to develop South Korea's economy, which led to so much success. And during the 1960s and 1970s, Kia just grew substantially. And then, unfortunately, they had a bit of a financial crisis. Kia sold its first truck in 1962. They consistently worked on making their own parts because they had to during the 1970s, which led to them becoming more independent and not relying so much on imported parts as they were before. Hyundai Motors led Kia in automobile production in the 1970s and 1980s, and they purchased 51% of Kia Motors in 1997 due to Kia being $5.7 billion in debt during the Asian financial crisis, which allowed Kia to keep their doors open. This is just a visual of what I was going over in the previous slide. A couple of really important events. One of them being they were founded in 1944. The car production began in 1974, and they didn't incorporate Kia Motors in America until 1994. And Kia declared bankruptcy in 1997, and they were essentially saved by Hyundai. And in 2005, Kia identified its design at its core future growth engine. This was a really big step for them as far as the quality of their engines. In 2006, Peter Schreier becomes Chief Design Officer. He really improved the overall quality of the brand as well as the design for the vehicles. And in 2013, Optima named International Car of the Year. So you can kind of just see how far they've come along from 1953 just producing motorcycles all the way up until getting the International Car of the Year in 2013. So this is Kia's vehicle lineup. I wanted to go through their website because honestly I just think it's better to have a visual. So they have the availability to build your own on the website, and I won't quite get all the way through that because you can go check it out on kia.com. However, their vehicles, they have a very impressive, vast collection. They have crossovers, SUVs, minivans, sedans. They have hybrid cars, hatchbacks. They have a few new vehicles as well as some special editions. And I'll just kind of go through some of their vehicles here. So for their crossovers and SUVs, minivan section, they have the Kia Soul, the Niro, the Sportage, which you can see these are the SUVs, the Sorento, and the Sedona. These are all 2019 editions, and obviously they've come a long way. And they have the sedans, which is just the cars. They have the Kia Rio, the Forte, the Optima, the Stinger, the Cadenza, and the K900, which is obviously a more expensive luxury Kia. Then they have the hybrids, an EV, which is the Niro, which is an obvious SUV. They have the Optima hybrid, which is the car. Kia Optima, which has great reviews. They have the Niro plug-in hybrid, which has the availability to be charged. Then they have the Soul EV, which you can also plug in the front, on the front of the Kia Soul. And then they have the Optima plug-in, which you can also plug in to charge, and obviously it would save gas. And then they have their hatchback lineup. They have the Rio 5-door and the Forte 5, which is a pretty popular option for Kia owners. And we can just go through some of the features. So for the Kia Soul, that's the car that I own right now. I have a 2015, so it's not quite as new as this one. But the Kia Soul is obviously a unique car with its shape and just kind of the way that it drives. I absolutely love mine. It's very gas efficient. I get about 40 miles a gallon, which is pretty impressive. We're going to go back to a few of the popular vehicles. Obviously, there's a lot of sedans out there that are very popular. The most I've seen is the Kia Optima, and it's a pretty cool car. I mean, it's got a ton of features and a really nice interior, and I've heard they're really roomy, and they also get very good gas mileage. Go through some of the features here for the more popular car. So obviously they have the luxury version, but you can see it gets 25 to 35 to 29 city highway combined miles per gallon. And it has the option of multiple different size engines, so 2.4 liter, a 1.6 liter, and a 2 liter. And obviously it has a little bit of a horsepower. It's got the option to have a 7-speed dual clutch transmission. I personally, on my Kia Soul, I have the option to go manual if I want. We'll go through some of their Let's go through some of their SUVs because these are also very popular here in the States, I'm sure as well as in several other countries. So the Kia Sportage is a pretty popular one, and the Sorento is kind of a larger SUV, but it's very popular, especially with the moms out there that need all the room they can get. It has a lot of different options as far as seating, and it's a really, really safe car. So these are just a few of the vehicles out there. They've obviously just listed the 2019 versions of their cars. I want to go through the upcoming vehicles. The new Kia Soul is pretty cool. It's supposed to come out in 2020. It obviously looks quite different than the 2019. So they are revamping it and just kind of redoing a lot of things. It's more sporty, and they really just come a long way as far as their automobiles and how they make them. And a lot of them are just really, really convenient and reliable, and which is what we need as Americans here with growing families and rising gas prices. We really need something we can get better gas mileage and have as much room as we need. So these are just a few of the vehicles that I wanted to touch on. And again, if you want to know any more information or look at building your own Kia, just go to kia.com. So here's the evolution of Kia Motors. This is just a few models dated all the way back to 1975, all the way down there to 2019. You can really tell the product has been time tested. It really has evolved over the years, and their quality and just overall look has changed for Kia. And again, these are just a few examples from 1975, and then on the right there you've got a late 90s model. In the middle you've got an early 2000s, and then you're looking at a 2015 and 2019 model. So the Kia Motors competition was really hard to nail down because essentially their competition is any other automobile producer that makes an SUV or a sedan or a electric car or any sort of compact car. So just a few of their top competitors is Hyundai, which surprisingly enough, Hyundai owns 31% of Kia. However, they're constantly going back and forth between who has the better SUV and who has the better features and this and that. So that was pretty interesting to learn about. Ford has some really good SUVs out there, as well as Chevy, Toyota, and Nissan. You can see the overall quality of Kia. They're on the top according to JD Power Ratings. And this is a really big step for Kia, considering how far they've came, and they overcame bankruptcy, and they're just really looking to get their brand right on track, and they're moving towards the right step as far as producing vehicles that are just really good quality vehicles and having their own parts and not relying so much on import and export parts. So the competition is very wide and there's a lot of competitors, but Kia is doing very well in the automobile industry. So this is Kia Motors SWOT analysis, their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So some of their strengths, they're just a really big automobile producer. They're one of South Korea's largest, and they're among the top 5 largest manufacturer based on sales. They have a huge sponsorship presence. They sponsor multiple sports and the Australian Open and things of that nature. They have a really strong portfolio, and they have sold nearly 1.5 million cars per year. And they have multiple production factories just spread out all over the globe. Some of their weaknesses, unfortunately everyone has weaknesses, so they've had a lot of past recalls of critical components. I know me personally, as a Kia owner, I have a recall on my car right now, and that's not uncommon for Kia. I don't know what the deal is with that, but unfortunately they've had a pretty big reputation with that. And they haven't necessarily leveraged their presence and recognition globally. They're a very well-known company, don't get me wrong, but they just need to do more. And they haven't necessarily expanded geographically. I mean, they've had the same production facilities. I mean, they've opened new ones in the past few years, but I just feel like they could do more. Some opportunities that they have to play on for the competitor side of it. So their electric vehicles are pretty impressive. and they're competing with Hyundai. So in the competition with Hyundai, they could essentially go in and make up for what Hyundai lacks, and they don't really necessarily do that. They're constantly going back and forth, but yet they're not playing on each other's strengths and weaknesses. Some threats. The competition kind of has a leg up as far as better technology, and this can kind of create a better differentiation for the other companies. They also kind of have the leg up on design. Kia is kind of coming through. Their new 2020 Kia Soul is pretty impressive, and they have a few concept cars in the works, so I'm interested to see those and how those are going to create some more differentiation between Kia and the competitors. So Kia Motors is different in several different ways. They provide more affordable options than their competitors, and let me expand on this. So due to still having to export certain vehicles, they don't always have the most affordable option depending upon location and the vehicle that you're wanting. However, they are an affordable brand overall, and they have more affordable luxury vehicles. They've won multiple awards that just kind of gives them a leg up on the competition. The awards are basically for the dependability of their small cars and their quality for their SUVs as well as their cars overall. And they also won the overall top quality rating in 2018. And as you can see from the awards, we can gather that Kia is top rated in quality, dependability, performance, and design with just certain models. And these ratings show the actual difference between the brands and just kind of the overall difference of Kia and how it sets itself apart from its competitors. Kia has a really impressive marketing strategy and just overall portfolio. They have a very diverse marketing structure. They do sports sponsorships, and they have a network of 4,000 dealers globally. The 4 P's of their marketing mix. So their product, they're a leading car manufacturer, and they also produce commercial vehicles. They still produce their trucks, and they are the top military vehicle producer for the government of South Korea, which is pretty awesome. And their vehicles are known for quality and design, so that's their product. As far as price goes, they're very affordable for the most part, but as I said before, due to having to export vehicles from manufacturing plants, they have to charge more in countries like the US and UK and Africa. Um, and they're also not providing as many discounts as their competitors. Nissan, Ford, they all do very good discounts, and Kia is not really known for that. But they maintain price gaps between the range of products they are selling. So that's their price. As far as place goes, they have 4,000 dealers globally. I mean, they're huge. They have 20 regional headquarters, which look after 342 sales offices. They have 11 shopping offices across Europe and just through the globe. And they have 20 regional service centers and 243 service providers. So pretty much wherever you go, you can have your Kia worked on. As far as promotion, they do a huge amount of promotion for their company. They promote through various sporting events, such as the Australian Open and FIFA and the UEFA Cups. Kia uses multiple print options as well as TV. They have a lot of commercials out there. I don't know if you remember the hamster commercial with the Kia Soul. Those were pretty popular for a while, and they used to call the Kia Soul the hamster car. They have billboards, and they just have multiple marketing outlets, as well as doing motor shows, and they're on the road, and they're just really wanting their consumers and their competitors to really see what they're about nowadays. And they're actively expanding their social responsibility They hold charity events, and they're constantly looking to reduce their carbon footprint and the CO2 emissions from their vehicles. So it's a really impressive marketing strategy, and they are really reamping their brand, and it's just overall really good for their sales. So some examples of Kia marketing, over to the left here, I'm kind of just going through their YouTube channel. They have so many commercials and little races and things like that that they do on their YouTube channel to kind of showcase their new cars and just kind of what's going on in the Kia world. As you can see, this is the Kia Stinger GT, which is a new kind of luxury sports car that they're advertising, and they have celebrities in their videos driving their cars, and they just do a lot of branding and just really good marketing as far as that goes. And over in the middle, we kind of have a car show, the Los Angeles Car Show. It was just November 30th through December 9th this year. And they kind of just show some of their concept cars as well as what they're working on. They do a lot of those auto shows all around the world. And this is just kind of an example. And they go through just all of their new and upcoming vehicles. And over on the right, we have a sports show, so the Australian Open and the sports brand ambassador Rafael Nadal. He has been representing them since 2004, and they have been the official automotive partner for FIFA, which is a huge, huge event, as well as the UEFA European League. It's the world's largest professional club football competition, so they're really just kind of getting their name out there and going to events and just really representing. So Kia Motors' market share is just their total amount of sales or revenues divided by the industry's total sales over a fiscal period. So as far as whether or not they should have a market share, of course, because there's going to be several different vehicles in the market that's going to be competing against Kia, and this is probably going to be like that for a long time. There's always been competitors in the automobile industry, going all the way back to Ford. And this is just kind of showing percentages from April 2018, the market share by manufacturer. Kia has a 3.8% market share, and you can see that's on the lower end, but it's not the lowest number up there. Kind of over on the top there, you see BMW and Mazda and Audi. They're kind of on the lower end, and you can see GM and Ford and Toyota are taking the top percentage of market share. However, they are very huge companies, and Kia is as well, but it's still kind of branding itself and rebuilding its reputation. So, and you can see Hyundai's on there at 4.5%. They're still getting a little bit more sales than Kia, but they're still probably going to always be competing against each other if they don't, buy out Kia completely. So as far as the market share goes, it's just, there's always going to be different cars because there's always going to be different consumer preferences. One person might want a big truck, and the other person might want a smart car that could fit in the back of the big truck. You kind of just never really know, and with the changing society that we live in, we're always going to want new features and new technology. And there's always going to be competitors trying to strive and have the best vehicle out there. So Kia is doing pretty well, in my opinion. It's really hard for it to compete against Ford and other big name brands that are in America. So as far as the market share goes, I think they're doing pretty well. So in conclusion, I just kind of want to reflect on how far Kia's come. They are just really improving, and they're really improving their reputation. They're definitely someone to keep track of as far as new releases for cars coming out and things like that. Just be sure and go and check out their website. It's just really cool to learn about if you're a car person. And just if you ever feel like test driving a Kia, you won't be disappointed. I absolutely enjoy my little Kia, and I hope that you learned a lot in my presentation. Thanks for watching.